The invocation of God's blessing upon this 124th commencement of Saint Anselm College will be pronounced by the Right Reverend Mark Cooper, Abbot of Saint Anselm Abbey and Chancellor of the College.
Let us pray. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Gracious God, we ask your blessing on our ceremonies this afternoon and upon all gathered here, especially the parents and families of those who will graduate today. We ask a particular blessing on the men and women of the class of 2017. Guided by your providence, they came here a few short years ago, seeking knowledge and understanding. Allow them to see that life and wisdom and all good things come to us through you. You have blessed their days here with friendships that will be among their most cherished possessions all the days of their lives. May they always be the best of friends, wanting only what is good and right for one another. You have blessed them with professors who led them in their search for truth and wisdom. May they hold dear what they have learned, and may it lead them to lives of service, so that they themselves become a blessing to all who encounter them. May they hunger for justice and satisfy that hunger by using their time and talents on behalf of those in need. You have blessed them with a love of Saint Anselm College. Bring them back here often to remember and rejoice in their time spent on this hilltop. Bless them now and always. Protect them. Watch over them all the days of their lives. We ask this through Christ our Lord.
Please remain standing and join in the singing of the National Anthem led by Emily Arnold, class of 2018.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, where say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Please be seated. The student speaker chosen to address us in the name of the class of 2017 is Robert Merritt III, an English and Spanish major from Atkinson, New Hampshire.
President DiSalvo, Abbot Mark, and the Benedictine community, members of the Board of Trustees, honorary degree recipients, distinguished faculty and staff, friends, families, and my fellow classmates of the class of 2017, good afternoon, and welcome to Saint Anselm College's 124th commencement ceremony. Well, guys, here we are. The day is finally here. The today we knew was coming, but hoped would always stay a someday. Now, as you sit there, daydreaming about your next steps, I want you all to take a moment and try to think of your favorite story. A story from freshman English or humanities, maybe something from high school even, or perhaps something you read for pleasure on your own time. Now, imagine you're right in the middle of the best part of that story, right in the moment when something great is happening, and the chapter ends. Did you then close the book and say, well, that must be the best part, so what's the point in continuing? Or did you turn the page and begin reading the next chapter? I'm willing to bet it was the latter. You kept going, whether it was to know how the story ends, or to find out if your favorite characters would make it through to the rest of the book, or to see the main character's transformation from beginning to end. But whatever it was, you looked forward with anticipation, not backward with regret. Today marks the end of our college chapter. It's been filled with long nights, sometimes of laughs and sometimes of tears, but for the past 4 years, we've been a part of something great. Now is not the time to close the book. Now is the time to turn the page. But even as we look forward, we must not forget to also look back and reflect. That is what today is for. Today is to think, not about the fact that we're leaving, but what we're leaving, and what, besides a diploma, we're taking with us into this next chapter. Today is to reflect on those we've met and gotten to know in this chapter, how they've grown and matured, and how maybe you look at life a little differently now because of the perspective they've given you. And just like in your favorite story, you hope that some of these characters will continue on until the end. And some of them will. But some of them won't. And that's okay. Characters aren't any less valuable to a story because they were only in it for a short time. They serve their purpose, whether they teach you something, or they make you feel all sorts of different emotions, or they do something foolish that you can learn from. The impression these individuals make on you stay with you, even if they themselves do not. Of course, turning the page isn't always easy, and it's okay to be sad about leaving. It means this school has given us so many things to miss. But let's use today to reflect on all of those things and remember everyone we met, everything we did, and everything we saw. After all, we deserve it. All of the times we've fallen in exhaustion into our tiny extra long twin beds, or into a friend's arms, or against the back of a chair in the library at 2 in the morning. All of those moments have led us to this day. And right now, across the country, it's also that day for thousands of other students who are at their graduations, thinking about the rest of their lives. The only difference is those students aren't graduating from Saint Anselm College. They didn't get to shove people to the ground in the Christmas spirit to get that cup of blue frosting for their gingerbread house. They didn't have to learn how to pronounce the word conversatio. They didn't get emails letting them know when someone had lost a paperclip in Perini Lecture Hall. Most didn't write a thesis or get interrogated by comprehensive exams. They didn't get to sit on the doorsteps of their townhouses and hand out candy to kids on Halloween or decorate the front of their houses with lights and decorations in hopes of winning that Chipotle gift card. They didn't get to gather in the church to watch the blessing of the hands of their roommates, friends, and peers who wish to dedicate their lives saving others. Or gather in their rec center with 1,000 other people for an all-night, fun-filled, emotional relay for life. Or simultaneously be in a building with a monk and also the next president of the United States. No. Only we got to go to college on the hilltop, the place we would find ourselves calling, to our parents' bittersweet horror, our home. And the place where we would meet people that would become like family and help shape us into the people that we sit here as today. We got to look up every day at our class banner hanging in the rafters of the dining hall, the same one that now hangs behind me for the very last time, and be reminded that we were part of something bigger than ourselves. And maybe cringe a little bit every time we realized it had moved up a rafter, closer to the Davison fireplace and closer to our futures. Only we got to spend 4 years here, being taught not just the fundamentals of humankind, but about life, the whole life, the body, the mind, and the spirit. So when we're thinking about the future, preoccupied with finding a job or an internship or a service organization, we need to be confident because we are Anselmians now and always. And even though we have about 22 free t-shirts to remind us of that, we need to make sure that we never lose sight of what being Anselmian truly means. And what does it mean? Ask any of us here what it means to be Anselmian, and chances are you'll get 442 different answers. But as someone once said, from the outside looking in, it's hard to understand. And from the inside looking out, it's hard to explain. That is the best way I can think to describe what it means to be a part of this community. As a junior in high school, going on my first ever college tour on this very campus, I was on the outside. I didn't understand why every student I passed welcomed me to campus. I didn't understand why a monk stopped our tour group and made a point to learn each and every one of our names. I mean, at that point, I wasn't really sure why there was a monk on a college campus stopping a tour group in the first place, but that's beside the point. Now, almost 6 years later, as someone on the inside, I understand, though I still can't fully explain it. But I do know this. Being Anselmian is all of these things that we've gotten to experience over the past 4 years. It's been finding that one professor, maybe more if you were lucky, that made a difference in your college career. It's been getting to know a monk and walking past him with the intention of simply saying a curt hello, and instead finding yourself 20 minutes later deep in conversation about your life choices. It's been being part of a team that became your family and supported you like one all the way through. It's hospitality, acceptance, sacrifice, community, coffee shop ranch. Now, think back to that favorite story that you conjured up earlier. Chances are it contains a round character, a term which in literature refers to a complex individual in a story, one who has depth in his or her feelings and passions, and one who inevitably encounters conflict, but upon overcoming this conflict is transformed and sees the world more clearly. As a result, a round character by the end of a story is never the same as he or she was at the beginning. This, right now, is our time to experience conflict, to to make mistakes. So remember, whenever you experience hard times in your life, whenever you feel you've hit a wall, don't let yourself be flat. Be round. Embrace the challenge with the knowledge that as a result, you will be all the stronger, all the wiser, and all the more interesting in the next chapter. Some of us may have parts in our own stories so far that we'd rather not read out loud. All of us have pages we would probably like to skip over. But I think most of us have parts we like to reread time and again. I hope that these past 4 years have provided you many of those parts, and I hope you read them out loud as proudly and happy as you live them. And I hope that we all remain in each other's stories after this chapter. And maybe it won't be until the chapter on Mackenzie Sullivan's 14th annual 5K for Crohn's disease, or the chapter on Kelsey Walsh's installment as the White House chief correspondent, or the one on Teresa Sampson's award ceremony for receiving the Nobel Peace Prize. Or maybe it won't be until we're right back here, however many years in the future, at the very place where our story's roots will always be firmly planted. So as we sit here today, on our very last official day on the hilltop, and we're fiddling anxiously with the corner of that last page, I hope you can realize that even though we're leaving this campus behind, we will never leave this place behind. And so because of your time at Saint Anselm College, you feel confident and ready to turn that page and begin the next chapter. The best part is, it's your story this time, and you get to write it however you want. Congratulations, class of 2017. Turn the page and go create a story worth reading. Thank you.
The American Association of University Professors, Saint Anselm College Chapter, presents an annual award to a member of the faculty of the college. Dr. Nicole Leapley, Associate Professor of Modern Languages and Literatures and President of the AAUP chapter on campus, will announce this year's award.
Each year, the Saint Anselm College chapter of the American Association of University Professors presents the Distinguished Faculty Award at graduation. It recognizes excellence in teaching and scholarship, contributions to the academic community through active and positive relations with colleagues and students, and an involved concern for humanity. A quiet leader, the faculty member we are recognizing today received a PhD from Cornell University and lectured there for 2 years before joining the faculty here at Saint Anselm College. Once here, our honoree advanced quickly through the ranks, from assistant to associate to full professor in just 13 years. Since that time, this scholar has maintained an active and evolving research agenda and has guided dozens of student research projects. This professor's service to students extends beyond involving them in research and teaching them. He established a chapter of the Beta 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 Biological Honor Society on our campus to recognize them. An excellent and dedicated teacher whose courses are challenging but fair, this educator offers a variety of small upper-level classes to departmental majors, in addition to teaching large lecture classes, patiently explaining details of physiology and bringing a steady approach to hundreds of nursing students. He is known for spending long hours in the lab with any student who seeks extra review time. He also enjoys a solid working relationship with and is greatly respected by the biology laboratory staff. This academic has a distinguished record of service to both the biology department and the college. He regularly volunteers to cover year-long, lower-level courses to help the department, sacrificing the upper-level courses closer to his personal interest. This servant to the discipline has continued to write grants, attend workshops, and present at conferences. He has directed the department's majors, acted as department chair, served on faculty senate, and led search committees. He does not fear labor-intensive committees like pre-tenure review and rank and tenure. He is willing to engage in the difficult task of creating and maintaining a high-quality faculty. He quietly steers a number of important initiatives for his department, from maintaining the catalog to building statistical assessments to guide curricular decisions. Again, doing the hard work that underlies good decision-making. He's a phenomenal colleague, as well as a congenial, service-oriented member of his department. He has served as a mentor and role model for many. As a mentor, he's calm, level-headed, always supportive, and generous with his time. He is one of those quiet and unassuming colleagues that can always be counted on to be helpful, professional, and wise. Many have learned much by his example and benefited greatly from his advice. His quiet leadership has changed many lives for the better. Today, I am honored to present the 2017 AAUP Award for Excellence in Faculty Accomplishment to Professor Don Rhodes.
On this 124th commencement of Saint Anselm College, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Stephen DiSalvo, President of the College. Ladies and gentlemen, President DiSalvo.
It is a distinct honor for me as President of the College to bestow upon a member of the graduating class the prestigious President's Award for Service and Citizenship. This award exemplifies the outstanding service, contribution to the college community, and passion for the mission of the institution made by a graduating senior. This year, a student has exceeded all of these expectations and became an instrumental force in the transformation of our college and our faith community. It was 128 years ago when the Bishop of Manchester requested that a group of monastic members from the Benedictine Abbey in Newark, New Jersey, come to this hilltop to found a Catholic college to serve a growing immigrant population. Their journey exemplified the faith and courage required to venture north to a place unknown with the sole purpose of serving the Catholic community in and around Manchester. 4 years ago, a young man made that similar journey, leaving his home in Newark to come to Saint Anselm College in the hope that he would receive an outstanding education. But it was his contribution to our community as a student leader and a force for change that sets him apart from others. He was instrumental in helping to chart a course set forth by Pope Francis to embrace those with individual differences. He was part of a dynamic group that helped to establish the inaugural Martin Luther King Speaker Series, and he served on the selection committee that hired the college's first Chief Diversity Officer. His volunteer efforts beyond the college have positively impacted immigrant families, high school students, and presidential candidates. His humble approach to serve others is evident through his radiant smile. At this time, I would ask Saint Anselm alumnus, member of the Board of Trustees, and current Director of Counseling Services at St. Benedict's Preparatory School in Newark, Dr. Ivan Lamort, to join me in presenting the 2017 President's Award for Service and Citizenship to Mr. Donald Stokes.
At this time, I would like to ask Abbot Mark Cooper, Abbot of St. Anselm Abbey and Chancellor of the College, to present the highest award of the College, the Chancellor's Award. The Chancellor's Medal is awarded to the student with the highest grade point average of the graduating class. Exceptionally, and for the first time in memory, this year we have a tie between two students, and they will each receive a Chancellor's Medal. The top students in the class of 2017 are Great Books and German Studies major from Barrington, New Hampshire, and a Sociology and Peace and Justice Studies major from East Hartford, Connecticut, both with a grade point average of 3.99. The two recipients of the Chancellor's Award are Julia Hawkins and Cassie Quattrapani. Dr. DiSalvo will now deliver the President's address.
Members of the class of 2017, family and friends, Bishop Libasci, Abbot Mark, and members of the monastic community, President Emeritus, Father Jonathan D. Felice, members of the Board of Trustees, Bishop Barron, Sister Thomas, and Dr. Wu. It is with great pride and joy that I welcome you to our 124th commencement exercises and offer my personal congratulations to the class of 2017 on the completion of your academic degrees. The rigorous path to obtaining a St. Anselm degree is not designed to be an easy task. Your academic studies have prepared you well to enter the workforce or continue with graduate studies. Our curriculum, rooted in the liberal arts, has sharpened your oratory abilities, critical thinking skills, and your theological foundation. You've celebrated game-winning moments with teammates and earned hard-fought championships. You have questioned humanity alongside fellow volunteers during service trips. You have worked very hard in the classroom. You have matured academically, socially, and spiritually. And each moment taught you something about being part of a team, about contributing to the common good, about being prepared, about knowing who you are and where you want to go. You had a front row seat to a memorable New Hampshire presidential primary and historic presidential election, during which more than 20 major candidates were frequent guests on our campus. For years to come, you will hear the familiar words live from Saint Anselm College and appreciate the quadrennial chaos and unparalleled opportunities that descend upon our hilltop when the candidates visit. But just remember, Saint Anselm and the Institute of Politics are nonpartisan. We take no credit for the outcome, and we take no blame. Together, your class has shared a 4-year opportunity to create a legacy for those who will follow in your footsteps. I have been honored to be part of your journey during a transformative period of time for the college. Do not underestimate the importance of your voice in shaping the future of our college. Your ideas, calls for action, they've all been heard and they have been implemented. We've worked very hard to develop a more inclusive community, guided by the aspirations and expectations of this student body. We have strived to become more environmentally conscious and have established various clubs and organizations pertinent to your interests. You've also been witness to an exciting transformation of our campus infrastructure. The Living Learning Commons introduced a new model of co-curricular residential life. The beautiful grotto brought our community a new space for prayer and reflection. And thanks to the single largest gift in the history of the college, the Roger and Francine Jean Student Center Complex is underway to serve future students. Many of you helped to design the spaces that will serve our community for years to come. A new core curriculum was implemented, and our study abroad program in Orvieto, Italy continues to grow. And thanks to the dedication, skill, and passion of our dining service staff, the college moved up in rankings from 12th during your freshman year to 8th in the nation for best campus food. Most importantly, our academic rankings continue to improve, as evidenced by the 558 new students that deposited as part of the class of 2021. Together, we have built a legacy of which you should be very proud. In a few moments, you will hear from Dr. Carolyn Wu about her work with Catholic Relief Services. Dr. Wu has traveled across the country and around the world, bringing hope, faith, and material goods to those in need. Dr. Wu was called to serve and has lived her life guided by the principles of what is good and what is right, as have many of you. Pope Francis tells us that young people are formed with a thirst for truth and not for power, ready to defend values and to live out mercy and charity, which are the main pillars for a healthier society. Consider this as you listen to Dr. Wu's remarks. Last fall, Saint Anselm College earned the distinction of being ranked among the top colleges and universities across the country that are most engaged in community service. Among the many commendations and recognitions bestowed upon this college, none speaks more clearly to the root of our community's character. When you leave campus later today, you will have turned a page on an amazing chapter in your life and will continue to write your story in new places among new people. Know that no matter where your journey takes you, you are always welcome here. Through the best of days and during the most challenging, You have had family and friends at your side. These years would not have been the same without the support of your loved ones. They share in your joy today. There are so many people to thank, and rather than have me mention them, I would like to share a letter I received just 2 days ago that was written by a parent in attendance today. Dear President DiSalvo, 4 years ago, I was asked to write a letter to the college telling you about my daughter, who would soon be moving to the Hilltop. I thought it only appropriate to write again, telling you about the past 4 years. That first letter was so easy to write. As a single mom and my daughter being an only child, we were very close, and I knew her well. There was so much to tell you then and so much more to tell you now. Where do I begin a letter thanking so many people who have truly made the Hilltop her home? Most will never know how their actions, both big and small, have helped make her who she is today. They have taught her, encouraged her, fed her, cleaned up after her, and so much more to make her feel at home. I will do my best to include everyone and only ask that you pass along my heartfelt thanks. To the college staff and past Anselmians, thank you for organizing, cheering, and carrying a carload of fresh new dorm essentials on move-in day. You lightened the load, both physically and emotionally that day. I only wish you had been there on move-out day. To the staff member who stopped to ask if my daughter was okay when she sat crying on the steps leading to the streets, thank you for checking on her. I was on the other end of the phone, and I heard you, and it eased my worry. In hindsight, the reason for the tears was not important, but you taking that one moment meant so much. To the cleaners in JOA and the streets and Brady Hall, thank you for cleaning up after her. You deserve much more than my thanks. To the woman in Dave who knew her by name by the time I came for lunch when I picked her up freshman year on Columbus Day weekend, it touched my heart when you gave her a hug and wished her a good weekend. To Campo and the groundskeepers, thank you for keeping campus not only safe, but beautiful. And I'm sure she deserved more than 2 parking tickets, so a special thanks for the times you drove by. To everyone in the Academic Resource Center who helped read and edit resumes, and those in the library who stayed late during finals, thank you for being there for her. To those in campus activities, thank you for providing her with fun and games, concerts, parties, free gifts, and so much more. Hearing the happiness in her voice when I heard all about it made me smile. To the person that manages social media, thank you for providing glimpses of her in photos and keeping me up to date on all of the happenings. To all of the professors she has had over the past 4 years, thank you for teaching and guiding her. A special thanks to Professor Cordella for allowing her to intern at the New England Arson Seminar, and Professor Ayet and Professor Ryerson for working on a research project with her that allowed her an opportunity to present at an international conference. To everyone in campus ministry, especially Sue Gabert, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You were by her side through 1 SBA and 2 WBA trips and for the Road of Hope. You have made her part of your family and cared for her and about her. Your influence will be everlasting. I'm sure I have only scratched the surface of those who deserve my thanks. Those who've taken the time to know her as an individual and helped her grow and mature in so many ways. Thank you for investing your time. I have seen so many changes in her over the past 4 years. She has made friendships that will survive across the miles and memories of fun she will look back on. She has learned what it means to be an Anselmian and will take that with her for the rest of her life as she says goodbye. As she walks across the stage and accepts her diploma, there will be tears of joy, but there will also be tears for all of you who have truly made the hilltop a place she calls home. Sincerely, Lisa Persicchini. So thanks to you, Mrs. Persicchini, and to all the parents here for entrusting us with your children these past 4 years. Your love and support helped to shape them into the adults that they are today. Members of the class of 2017, I wish you Godspeed in your life's journey. Have faith in the future, and may God guide each and every one of you today and for the rest of your lives as proud graduates of Saint Anselm College. And I leave you with one final thought. College is for 4 years. Saint Anselm College is forever. Thank you, and God bless you.
On the occasion of these commencement exercises, St. Anselm College honors 3 individuals whose contributions to society are judged worthy of public commendation and of imitation by our departing students. Our honored guests have influenced others for the good through leadership in various fields. It is our hope that by honoring these individuals, our graduates will be inspired to imitate them in the coming years. President DiSalvo will present and read the citations.
At this time, I would ask the Most Reverend Robert Barron to please come forward. On a hot afternoon when he was 14 years old, young Robert Barron sat in a religion class at Fenwick High School in the Chicago suburbs and listened to a young Dominican religion teacher explain one of Thomas Aquinas' proofs for the existence of God. For the rest of his classmates, it was just another day of high school. For Robert, it was a lesson that sparked a lifelong journey in faith that he has pursued with so much zeal that today he is not just a Catholic bishop, but a #1 Amazon best-selling author and an internet sensation. Bishop Barron earned a master's in philosophy from the Catholic University of America and a doctorate in sacred theology from the Institut Catholique de Paris. Following his ordination to the priesthood in 1986 in his home Archdiocese of Chicago, he served as an associate pastor before being appointed to the faculty of Mundelein Seminary. He has served as a visiting professor at the University of Notre Dame and at the Pontifical University of St. Thomas Aquinas in Rome, as well as scholar in residence at the North American Pontifical College at the Vatican. On July 21, 2015, Pope Francis appointed Bishop Barron to be the auxiliary bishop of the Archdiocese of Los Angeles, where he is the Episcopal Vicar of the Santa Barbara Pastoral Region. His voice as a teacher, however, reaches far beyond the people of his diocese. He is a prolific best-selling author who has published numerous books, essays, and articles on theology and the spiritual life. He is the founder of Word on Fire Catholic Ministries and the host of Catholicism, an award-winning documentary about the Catholic faith. Additionally, he works with NBC News in New York as an on-air contributor and an analyst, and is a frequent commentator for the Chicago Tribune, Fox News, CNN, EWTN, Our Sunday Visitor, the Catholic Herald in London, and the Catholic News Agency. Bishop Barron's website, wordonfire.org, reaches millions of people each year. His regular YouTube videos have been viewed over 14 million times, and he is one of the most followed Catholics in the world on social media. Bishop Barron's pioneering work in evangelizing through the new media led the late Francis Cardinal George to describe him as one of the Church's best messengers. Bishop Barron has described his own life as a fire that began in the mind and leapt to the heart. Abbot Mark, for the fire of faith and reason that burn in his many ministries, and for the many fires he has ignited in others, I am honored to present Bishop Robert Barron for the degree of Doctor of Divinity, honoris causa.
Bishop Robert Barron, by the authority of the Board of Trustees of Saint Anselm College, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Divinity, honoris causa. In accordance with usual custom, you are entitled to all the rights and privileges which pertain to this degree here and elsewhere. In token thereof, we award you this diploma and present you with the appropriate hood.
I would now ask Sister Thomas Welder, O.S.B., to please come forward. On the plains of North Dakota, you grow up with an appreciation for your own presence amid the vastness of the land and the sky. In a land shaped by the capriciousness of wind and water, humility and hope are lessons available to any who bother to pay attention. And greatness is measured in the smallest of good deeds. Sister Thomas Welder paid attention from an early age. Never regarding herself as the most important person in any room, this native of Bismarck, North Dakota, took to heart the words of Jesus when he says, "I came not to be served, but to serve." She has spent her life in the service of others, and in doing so, has become a leader in the church, in education, and in her native state. Sister Thomas attended the College of St. Benedict, graduated from the College of St. Scholastica, Duluth, and earned a master's degree in music from Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois. She joined the Benedictine Sisters of Annunciation Monastery in her hometown of Bismarck and has served as a teacher and administrator at the University of Mary since 1963. In 1978, she was appointed president and served for over 30 years, retiring in 2009. She remains active as president emerita. Sister Thomas serves as a director of CHI, St. Alexius Health, as a trustee of Missouri Slope Area-Wide United Way, and as a board member of the Light of Christ Catholic Schools. Having spent her entire life as a servant leader, Sister Thomas has led others not just by the wisdom of her words, but by the eloquence of her example. Inspired by the gospel and the paradox of St. Benedict's ladder of humility, her humble leadership manifests the confidence that comes from the perfect love of God, which casts out fear. Sister Thomas Welder's greatness has come one caring act of service at a time over a span of many decades. Habit Mark, in recognition of her outstanding and faithful service to our church and her contributions to Benedictine education and the public good, I am honored to present Sister Thomas Welder for the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
Sister Thomas Welder, by the authority of the Board of Trustees of Saint Anselm College, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. In accordance with usual custom, you are entitled to all the rights and privileges which pertain to this degree here and elsewhere. In token thereof, we award you this diploma and invest you with the appropriate hood.
I would now ask Dr. Carolyn Wu to please come forward. Growing up in Hong Kong, Carolyn Wu learned crucial formative lessons from her early training under the tutelage of the Mary Knowles sisters. She learned what a woman could do in this world. She learned what faith could do in this world, and she learned the joy that comes from faith put into action. Her life's journey would take her all around the world to places of great prominence and indescribable poverty, to halls and chambers of enormous power, and to places of unspeakable suffering and human vulnerability. But Dr. Wu's journey all began with a simple determination to help lift up her family. Carolyn immigrated to the United States from Hong Kong in order to attend Purdue University, where she received her bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degrees before ultimately joining the faculty. Her teaching, research, and administrative leadership would earn her recognition from, among others, the Academy of Management and the Journal of the American Association for Higher Education. She became Associate Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs at Purdue before accepting an appointment as Dean of the University of Notre Dame's Mendoza College of Business in 1997. During her tenure, Mendoza College was frequently recognized as the nation's leading business school in ethics, education, and research. It received and has retained top ranking from Bloomberg Businessweek since 2010 for its undergraduate business program. Carolyn was the first female dean to chair the accreditation body for business schools, AACSB. She directed the AACSB's Peace Through Commerce initiative and helped launch the Principles for Responsible Management Education for the United Nations Global Impact. In 2012, Dr. Wu became the CEO of Catholic Relief Services, the official international humanitarian agency of the Catholic community in the United States. Representing CRS, Carolyn traveled the world to help CRS workers assist people in human crisis. She was featured in a 2013 issue of Foreign Policy as one of the 500 most powerful people on the planet and one of only 33 in the category of a force for good. Today, Dr. Wu serves on numerous non-for-profit boards and continues to be a determined force for good in our world in a variety of ways. She was one of 5 presenters in Rome at the release of Pope Francis's encyclical on the environment in June of 2015, and her personal faith journey and work at CRS are recounted in her 2015 book, Working for a Better World. Abbot Mark, in recognition of her many achievements and professional successes and devoted work to help those in need, I am honored to present Carolyn Y. Wu for the degree of Doctor of Humanities honoris causa.
Carolyn Wu, by the authority of the Board of Trustees of Saint Anselm College, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humanities honoris causa. In accordance with usual custom, you are entitled to all the rights and privileges which pertain to this degree here and elsewhere. In token thereof, we award you this diploma and invest you with the appropriate hood.
It gives me great pleasure at this time to call upon Dr. Carolyn Wu to deliver the commencement address.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the honor, privilege, and being one of the fellow students and graduates of the class of 2017. People ask me, is it difficult to do commencement speeches? I said, generally, I don't have problems speaking, which is actually a problem. But there are a couple of challenges. The first one is that I don't know whether you've heard a saying, the mind could only absorb what the seat can endure. And you've been enduring a lot. There have been just so many wonderful speeches, but this is another one of those speeches. And besides, I'm holding up the main act. You are the main act. We're just really your opening. But the second thing that makes it really hard, and today was the case again, I've just had knee operation, so I didn't march with everyone. I was sitting in a cart under the tree watching. And always to me, it's emotionally difficult. I get choked up. Pomp and circumstance always does that to me. And looking at your faces too, wondering what is the story behind each of this face? What's on your mind right now? What awaits you? What type of challenges will you face? And how will you face those? And also, there were different people who came up. There were grandmothers at that line. There were parents. There were sisters. And they were just out there, and they did the most uncool thing. They were waving, double arms. And, usually people don't do that. And just trying to get your attention and just to be able to get a picture. I see grandmothers who just struggle up. She could probably use my cart. But it's just an expression of so much pride. And behind that pride, there's so much love. Honestly, today we're celebrating your achievements, but behind those achievements, there were lots of sacrifices by everybody who loves you, and by you too, those sacrifices. And while we're talking about successes, there were also setbacks. Mr. Merritt gave an excellent talk, by the way, mentioned some of those. Life is not a bed of roses. There were difficulties along the way, difficulties that affected not only you, but the people who love you, who are part of this particular journey. So for me to watch that, it was really sort of like all the stories of each life and each family. These are the moments of what memories are made up of, and the milestones where your family and your parents and grandparents would think about sort of the dreams that they had and how dreams come true, and also the excitement of what lies ahead. It's an important moment. This program is very important. When I graduated, I had a program too. About 30 years ago, my father passed away. When I went through his things, there my program was, with the page that had my name dog-eared. My older sister passed away 3 years ago, and she was the one immediately above me. And when I went through her things, there was my program too, that my sister, through all of her different moves, all the way to way north, to different cities and so on, that one of the things she chose to keep was my commencement program. And so be sure to get a few more copies. That's the message of this. So it's a very, very special moment. And then all joking aside, I was in a restroom once before graduation, and one graduate told another, this hood that you have, this little white hood, he said, this is a $200,000 hood. So, there's lots of things to be thankful for, and the investment in you, the achievements and the journeys the family had together, I just want to say, what a special, special moment. But going forward, commencement is actually about beginnings. It's not about endings. Sometimes it's enabled by endings. Beginnings are exciting, but they also can be scary. Most of you are leaving something you're familiar with and that you have conquered and mastered to something that you don't know how you would do. Would you succeed? Would you be happy? Would you be accepted? Is there a place for you? Some of you, your destination is still unclear. But for all of you, you're moving from a community to which you belong, in which you are known, to start all over again. I remember my son, when we moved from one city to another, And he came home from the first day of class. He was only in 4th grade. And he said, "It sucks to be a nobody." Right? I'm sure now that you're centuries beyond 4th grade, that sentiment is not totally foreign. You start again as a new face with no social capital. Right? And as you listen to the news, I hope you get it from more than just Facebook. So let's just include the print and television. You know, there's a lot of troubling news, right? There are things that are not going very well in a lot of places. The threat of war, economic slow growth, that sort of thing. You know, it's easy to have a heavy heart. It's easy to say, you know, what is the world like for me? What is the basis of my hope? And, you know, the work that we do at Catholic Relief Services, we serve over 100 million people in 100 countries. We do not go to the front lines of problems. We go into the actual devastation of many ground zeros. Whether it is pandemics, whether it is the aftermath of severe aerial bombing, or natural disasters, or genocides where people are displaced and kicked off the lands, we're in the middle of that work. People ask me, "Are you depressed? Are you depressed by your work?" And I just want to say honestly, I'm not only not depressed, I'm full of hope, even with more hope than I ever had before I went into that work. And I've shared with you only 2 reasons for my hope. The first is that I think we are very strong people. I think the first thing is always to claim your strength. I think Mr. Merritt's talk also covered that. Your journey was not all easy, even though we sit now with no exams on your mind and things look good. But remember the beginning, when you had to ask yourself, should I and could I get an education from St. A's? How will we afford it? What would my family have to do? Would I succeed? Right? So you have to deal with those questions, and you come to some type of a decision and say yes. But the beginning of that journey, I don't know whether you remember panicking because you didn't manage your time well and all 5 deadlines were crashing in the same week. You know, like, what did I do to myself? How could I go through this? Or doing your work, you know, sort of like in high school, just scribble a few things, 3 hours before this, I'll read and write something. Well, the scribble and write something didn't quite measure to a good grade. And all of a sudden you have a sense, boy, what do they expect here is not what they used to expect. Or the feeling that everybody around here is smarter than I am. Will I make it? Some of you, may have run into financial difficulties and may have to step out. Some of you found out that you cannot get along with your majors, that only Maylocks could carry you through. And somewhere along the line, you change majors and may have to add more credit hours and sometimes more time. Those are difficulties. Some of you may have been a little bit too enthusiastic in your weekend parties and did things that you were not very proud of. Some of you may have made hurtful comments and lost friends. But never mind. All of you are here now. One way or the other, perhaps not without total losses, you have come through. And you have come through not just with a degree, not just with knowledge and credentials, but perhaps with some sense of perspectives. Perspectives about what is important, what is not. Perspective about yourself, that you could develop new discipline, that you could develop habits which are constructive, that you could be your best advocate by doing the right things, that you could be wrong sometimes, and it could have devastating losses. But you have come through with greater ability to handle responsibility, with greater wisdom. And hopefully, these are really what will take you forward to be able to handle all of the opportunities that face you. but you have a lot of strength. And that strength comes from having setbacks, learning from it, changing the way you do things, developing good habits, maturing, knowing that you can be wrong, knowing how to give an apology, and moving forward. So never forget the strength that you have when you run into difficulties. The second and the last point I want to make is that we are never, never, never alone. I was a worrier. I worried a lot, particularly because I didn't really have the tuition for my college experience. I was really able to cobble together 1 year of tuition and then the rest, whatever would happen. So I worried a lot. The good side of worrying a lot is that you work harder and you try to plan faster. But at a certain point, you know that at a certain point, you feel like you're all on your own. Everything depended on you. Everything depended on getting that particular scholarship. It's like being at the river and there's no more. You don't have a boat and there's not a bridge. So, but what I have learned from the last 3 or 4 decades of living life is that we are never alone. I don't know who gave me my scholarships. I don't know who were the donors, just like many of you don't know who the donors are to your financial aid. They're strangers. They're people who chose to invest in other strangers, young people, so that they have a chance. They're people who choose to share their success, to enable another person's success. I know you have a lot of experiences like mine. Let me just share one. I was in the master's program. I was very young. I was 21 years old. I actually didn't know much about anything. I lived in a dorm. I had a writing class. And my first writing class was to describe a marketing solution to a problem of a product called the pup tent. I didn't know what a pup tent was. I have never seen one, heard of one, used one, and it was before the time of the internet. Well, I had a writing assignment. So I decided to write something and use really long sentences and really big words. And it was the day you could check on the thesaurus. And, you know, whenever there's a word which is bigger, I use that word. I wrote in long sentence. I remember getting my paper back, and it was in an envelope in a bank of mailboxes where there are 200 mailboxes. So, and of course, new student. I went to get my envelope. I pulled my paper out of the envelope. The first thing I saw was a big red C. C was a failing grade in graduate school. Graduate schools is only A and Bs. I remember the panic. And then the second thing was the embarrassment. Like, did anybody see my paper? Was there anybody around me who saw that I got a C on my writing assignment? So I went to my room and panicked. But I decided that, and I was on scholarship still, I better get help. I went to my instructor, Mrs. Ruth Ann Schlabam, and we have one writing assignment every 2 weeks. And she said, Carolyn, I don't know what you were trying to say. And I said, Mrs. Schlabam, I don't know what I'm supposed to say. I don't know what a pup tent is. So we decided that from then on, after the first week, I will go meet with her. I will go through what I think this is about. If I didn't understand the product, I would ask her and we'll say, these are my points, and she would help me, and then I will develop the writing. This actually helped me to be a better writer because I now know if you don't know what you're going to say, you could never be a good writer. So we did this. Everybody would wait until the night before when they wrote their assignment. I would do it a week ahead, drafted my point, went to see Mrs. Schlabam. She would help me, and then I would do my writing assignment. The bottom line of that is out of my first C, I actually got an A in this 1 credit hour course. But Mrs. Ruth Ann Schlabam stayed in my life. When I had my first son, she gave me a shower. When I moved from Purdue to Notre Dame, she came to visit me. When I moved to Catholic Relief Services, she held fundraisers for me. That is the power of strangers. And I have a beloved nanny. She's 99 years old in Hong Kong. I love her dearly, but I have to turn her care, to the attention of strangers. I am not in Hong Kong. She's failed, but she's a darling person. And the people who take care of her love her. right? So I just want to say, strangers, people who don't have special relationships to us. The instructor, we heard a professor being recognized who would work with students on these research and long hours. The registrar who tells you you are running behind on your credit hours. A particular classmate who told you, you know, I know of this opportunity, you should go for that. The people who nominated you for things, like I don't know who nominated me for this particular award until I saw Monsignor Vey, who is on the board, whom I worked with over 10 years ago. I would never know who these people are, who are generous to us. They are strangers. I remember just a few weeks ago when my knee was really hurting, we were checking into a hotel and we were parking and so on, and the hotel manager came up to me and say, for your room, you should park in gate 4. You know, don't park in 1, 2, 3, but gate 4 because it will be less walking. What a small act. And somebody earlier said, you know, kindness comes out in these small acts. So I just want to say, for those of you who think that you are all alone, we have never been all alone. Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, was reputed to have a sign inside his home that says, invoked or not, God is present. I think this is the way that God wants it, is that we will never be alone. He said we would never be left as orphans, and he sent us each other. Each other. We are meant to be the answers to each other's prayers. Just think about that. Do not take it lightly. Know how others have been the answers to your prayers and how we each are the answers to other people's prayers. So I just want to say to the class of 2017, believe in yourself, believe in others, believe in God. And I just want to say, when sometimes you pray to God and you don't get what you need, that's because God is going to give you something better. God bless. Go with God.
I would now like to call upon Dr. Mark Cronin, Dean of the College, for the awarding of the degrees to the graduates.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment when Saint Anselm College and the wider academic community recognize the academic accomplishments of these graduands with the conferral of degrees. The degree which they will possess is a public recognition that they have engaged in the labor which is learning, experienced the joy which is discovery, and now possess the achievement which is knowledge. Will the graduands please rise? President DiSalvo, it is my pleasure to present to you the candidates for the degrees of Honors Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Arts, and Bachelor of Science. The faculty of Saint Anselm College have guided them through the prescribed course of studies in the arts and sciences, have examined them on their worthiness, and certify that they are indeed worthy to receive these degrees.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Saint Anselm College and the State of New Hampshire, I confer the degree of Honors Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Arts, or Bachelor of Science with all the rights, honors, and privileges pertaining to these degrees here and elsewhere on those now presented by the Dean of the College. Congratulations.
Please be seated. Dear graduates, it is now the moment you have waited for and worked for. Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to hear that one special name. For the sake of grandparents and parents, friends and family, who want nothing more than to hear their one special name, I request on behalf of the graduates that until all of the degrees have been conferred by the president of the college, that you withhold your applause and other expressions of joy in utter disbelief. The Honors Bachelor of Arts degree, Grace Elaine Anderson, summa cum laude. Liam John Anderson, cum laude. Christine Eileen Ballquist, magna cum laude. Jasmine Mary Blaze, summa cum laude. Alicia Chenard, summa cum laude. Caitlin Maureen Chute, summa cum laude. Sydney A. Clark, cum laude. Amanda Jean Field, magna cum laude. Miranda Nicole Grew, magna cum laude. Johanna Elizabeth Matarazzo, cum laude. John Joseph McNeil, cum laude. Robert W. Merritt III, summa cum laude. Ashley Ann Mata, summa cum laude. Mary Frances Mullen, cum laude. Jennifer Virginia Richard, magna cum laude. Michael Osborne Ryan, Jr., cum laude. Teresa Marian Connor Sampson, summa cum laude. Aaliyah Nicole Smith, cum laude. Arya Thapa, cum laude. Amy Marie Vachon, cum laude. The Bachelor of Arts degree, Caitlin Ann Abella, magna cum laude. Megan Carol Ahern, cum laude. Wasef B. Ahmed. Emily June Alexander. Joseph Howard Alexander, Jr. Mina El Reyes. Candace Olivia Andrews. Haley Bell Andrews, cum laude. Jean-Michel Arcand. John Michael Arsenault, cum laude. Marissa Madeline Ashton, cum laude. Emily Susan Bache. John Robert Ball. Courtney Mary Bamberry, cum laude. Victoria Catherine Banks, cum laude. Patrick Joshua Barcelo, cum laude. Michaela Ann Berry, cum laude. Ryan Shipley Berry. Zachary Edward Bartak. Megan Elizabeth Beals. Jillian Ann Beatty. Celeste Christine Bollier. Sedgela Beglerovic. Andrew Roger Beliveau, cum laude. Jeremy James Betts. Charles Robert Blaska. Ellis Benjamin Bodiger. Kendra Rowe Bonzar, cum laude. Stephanie Hogue Bosworth. Nicholas Anthony Bergol. Christopher Lance Braley. Jocelyn Ann Britton, cum laude. Bailey Scott Brown. Jennifer Ellen Brown. Jada Michelle Burke. Alex Richard Bush. Lauren Rayanna Butkus, cum laude. Allison Rose Butler. Nicholas Patrick Kane. Sean Timothy Callahan. Kelsey Marie Cameron, cum laude. Sean Philip Canty Jr. Jillian Kinsella Capeless. Christiane Lee Cardona. Catherine Ann Casey, magna cum laude. Lauren Irene Cavaco, cum laude. Rachel Rossi Saucier. Shane Michael Curvels. Cecilia Marie Chisholm, cum laude. Michael Kirk Ciardelli. Erin Lacey Clapp, cum laude. Carly June Colbert. Kate Ellen Cole, cum laude. Olivia Mackenzie Conley, cum laude. Christopher Daniel Conrad. Edward Donald Conroy. Emily Jean Cormier, magna cum laude. Paige Caitlin Cormier. John Raymond Courtney, summa cum laude. Matthew David Cowell. Elizabeth Patricia Crean. Jane Isabel Crowley. Megan Hillary Crowley. Olivia Teresa Cummings. Richard Paul Curran III. Joseph John Zarnota, cum laude. Sarah Louise Dalton. Vincent Lorenzo D'Amato, cum laude. Elizabeth Lee David, magna cum laude. Deanna Marie DeFelice, cum laude. Omri Ronald DePierre Push. Patrick James Durenz. Kenneth Rene Damaris III, cum laude. Emily Ann Dewey, summa cum laude. Mary Elaine DeCanza, cum laude. David Nicholas DeMoro. Megan Marie Dodge, cum laude. John Daniel Doherty. Connor Richard Dooley. Connor James Doonan. Christine Holly Drew. Lauren Marie Driscoll. Kayla Lynn Duarte. Jamie Rose Dulac, magna cum laude. Kelsey Lynn Dulac, cum laude. Daniel Marie Dulong. Daniel Nicole Dumas, cum laude. Ashley Marie Dumont. Connor William Eaton, cum laude. Asim O. El Raya. Omir O. El Raya, cum laude. Michaela Elizabeth Evans, cum laude. Brian John Even Jr. Emily Jane Fairbank. Sam Andrew Fargo. James Nicholas Feltham. Phoebe Ann Ferriello, cum laude. Peter Eugene Fidrich, summa cum laude. Martha Mary Finley. Emily Ann Fitzmeyer, cum laude. Joshua Daniel Finn, cum laude. Matthew John Flynn, magna cum laude. Heather Marie Folan, cum laude. Henry Menzie Foster, cum laude. Louis Preston Franchose, magna cum laude. Faith Violet Francoeur, cum laude. Jessica Ann Freitas, cum laude. Haley Fromkin, magna cum laude. Bethany Ray Gabert. Elizabeth Amy Gallagher, cum laude. Nicole Emma Garcia. Joshua James Garrett. Kylene Elizabeth Garrison, cum laude. Rose Victoria Guerin, magna cum laude. Autrey Herbert Gates, magna cum laude. Ginger Elizabeth Gates, magna cum laude. Yanni Gavalis. Kathleen Rose Jamel. Brian Franz Georges. Kelsey Eleanor Gessner. Caitlin Bridget Gahuli, cum laude. Brennan Kathleen Gladwell, cum laude. Valeria Gomez. Zachary Daniel Good. Paul Lorian Goodspeed, cum laude. Alexander J. Gowan. Alicia Nguzi Grandison. Haley Morgan Grant. Catherine Florence Green, cum laude. Bradley Charles Greenland, cum laude. Devin James Godano, cum laude. Nicole Deborah Gavin. Riley Amanda Guyette. Matthew David Gazzardi, magna cum laude. Whitney Wayland Hammond, cum laude. Kaylee Sullivan Hannigan, cum laude. Margaret Healy Harrington, magna cum laude. Julia Francis Hawkins, summa cum laude. Joseph Wesley Heyman. Megan Jane Healy, magna cum laude. Zachary Ryan Hecht, cum laude. Rachel Jean Henderson, summa cum laude. Samantha Erin Hennequin, magna cum laude. Andrew Francis Herlihy. Marissa Kate Hirschberg. Philip Edward Hodgkins, Jr. Patrick John Hollister. Edward John Horton. Matthew Joseph Horton. Thomas Hudon. Meredith Caro Hungerford, cum laude. Rebecca Mary Hurd. KC Christine Hyde, magna cum laude. Seamus Paul Igo. Jeffrey Thomas James, Jr., magna cum laude. Gabrielle Marie Jetty, cum laude. Haley Ann Johnson, cum laude. Matthew Robert Johnson. Cody Tyler Jones. Kara Kate Kafel. Laura Ann Counds, cum laude. Eva Karakalitis, cum laude. Ryan Douglas Kearns, cum laude. Nicole Katrin Keefe. Devin Kathleen Kelly. Matthew Claypool Kelly. Mark Christian Kelly. Brendan Andrew Kerrigan, magna cum laude. Isabel Camilla Kaczynski, cum laude. Megan Barbara Kiley. Andrew Duane Clota. Calliope Kanomi. Olivia Starr Kapurek. Nicholas Ian Kuttner, cum laude. Alexis Marie Labrie, cum laude. Jessica Elizabeth Lambert. Nicole Marie Landry, cum laude. Zachary Gordon Larry, summa cum laude. Mira Elizabeth Latona. Cameron James Latta. Mary Catherine LaValle. John Joseph Lavoie. Coleman M. LeBlanc, cum laude. Kelsey Margaret LeBlanc. Dylan John Lefevre. Meredith Elise Lemon, summa cum laude. Amber Nicole Lemoyne. Philip Troy Lintz. Nicholas James Leonard. Dominique Rose Lesieur, cum laude. Joseph Roland Lavasser. Alexandra Nicole LeVay, cum laude. Ryan Michael Lewis. Maggie Rebecca Livingston. Samuel Douglas Lorenzo. John Daniel Lynch, cum laude. Margaret Mary Lynch, cum laude. Jacob Robert Massarone. Grant Ronald Mackay, magna cum laude. Alexis Brianna McLeod. Scott Ryan McNeil. Sarah Ann McGuire. Sean James Marr. Carice Eden Mayu, magna cum laude. Timothy James Manila. Sabrina Francis Marino. Nicholas Vinios Markham. Mitchell Edward Martin, cum laude. John Thomas Martucci, Jr. Emily Demetra Mason, cum laude. Emily Marie Mazza, cum laude. Sean Michael McCall. Hope Elizabeth McCarthy. Christopher James McCormick. Francesca Marie McKay. Stephen Larson McLeod. Jonathan Adam McQuarrie, magna cum laude. Brendan Paul Megan, cum laude. Emily Ann Meinertz, summa cum laude. Michael Stephen Mello. Noelle Marie Menard, cum laude. James Washburn Messner. Noelle Lauren Michaud, cum laude. Cassandra K. Mitchell. Ryan Monette. Rose Mary Mooney, summa cum laude. Joseph William Moran. Commissioned yesterday as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army, Zachary Joseph Morgan. Kayla Marnette Morose, cum laude. Sadmir Mijanovich. Catherine Isabel Muldoon. Nolan Patrick Murray, magna cum laude. Eric Michael Newcomb, cum laude. Caroline Marks, nay. Hung Zhang Wien, magna cum laude. Kyle Stephen Nolette, cum laude. Stephen James O'Callahan. James Charles Olson. Jordan Catherine Willette, cum laude. Joseph Stephen Pache III. Alexander George Passetti, magna cum laude. Commissioned this very morning on these steps in the U.S. Marines, Nicholas Henry Papsadora. Ryan Lee Parento. Kayla Christina Patton, cum laude. Trevor Darnell Patton, magna cum laude. Karina Mary Pearson, magna cum laude. Michael Francisco Pedro, cum laude. Rebecca Denise Marie Pelletier, cum laude. Joshua Chandler Pepin, cum laude. Marissa Lee Persicini, cum laude. Quing Chang Pham, cum laude. Matthew John Phelan. Taylor Donovan Picarello, cum laude. Madison Caroline Perner, cum laude. Savannah Merrill Poole, cum laude. Sean Thornton Poole, cum laude. Sarah Nicole Powers, summa cum laude. Melissa Lynn Prest. Zachary Michael Prosek. Emily Kathleen Provost. Lindsay Michelle Polisi, cum laude. Brennan Barry Quackenbush. Cassie Marie Quattrapani, summa cum laude. Allison Stephanie Quinn. Paul Joseph Ramirez, summa cum laude. Holly Nicole Rand. Ashley Jennifer Reisdorf. Casey Michael Riley, cum laude. Victoria Evelyn Roach, magna cum laude. Zoe Olivia Alexandra Robb. Catherine Elizabeth Roberts. Brad Anthony Roachville, summa cum laude. Christopher John Rodriguez, cum laude. Dolly Rose Rondo. Paige Alyssa Rondo. Elizabeth Ann Rose. Lauren Elise Russell. Nicole Ann Rust, cum laude. Daniel James Ryan. Dylan P. Ryan. Nicholas Vincent Salamone, cum laude. Molly Ann Santos, summa cum laude. Ryan Norman Saracen, magna cum laude. Christina Ariana Savino. Lindsay Scanlon, cum laude. Michael Edward Schmidt, summa cum laude. Aaron Jacqueline Schuster, summa cum laude. Megan Ann Seagrave. Catherine Alice Sears. Alexis Elena Sedaris, cum laude. Anna Teresa Lyons Santel. Victoria Rose Shea. Jonathan Sheedy, cum laude. Maxwell Austin Shinnick. Peter Stephen Sakalis. Joseph William Silcox. Caitlin Marie Silverman, cum laude. Abigail Murdoch Smith. Joseph Edward Smith, cum laude. Eric William Susi. John Francis Spillane III. Megan Kathleen Sperling. Ashling Elizabeth Stanek. Brian James Stankiewicz, cum laude. Amanda Lynn Starry, cum laude. Alexandra Marie Starzik, cum laude. Donald Lamar Stokes, Jr. Demetrius Nicholas Strange. Mackenzie Ann Sullivan, cum laude. Catherine Kelly Sutherland. Colin Keeley Swanson, cum laude. Hannah Palmer Sinnott, cum laude. Catherine Marie Sipek. Harrison William Taggart. Sean Zora Tahir. Ali Elizabeth Tatro. Lawrence Allen Taylor IV. Mark Paul Tatro Jr., magna cum laude. Elijah Andrew Thomas. Gabrielle Joyce Toro, cum laude. Elizabeth Patricia Torrey, magna cum laude. Zachary Simon Traver, magna cum laude. Morgan Sisu Turnbull. Christopher Alexander Valente. Lincoln James Vamus. Shana Marie Varela. Gina Danelle Volucci, magna cum laude. Kristen Ashley Veneman, cum laude. Daniel Alfred Versace. Paul Edward Vicioni Jr., cum laude. Mark Angelo Vitello, cum laude. Kelsey Joy Walsh. Lauren Bridget Wanless, magna cum laude. Daniel Evan Whalen. Philip Raymond Wheel. Tyler Joseph Wilk, magna cum laude. Eric Alexander Wilson. Corey Joseph Winship, magna cum laude. Jared Robert Alexander Wood. Amanda Patricia Young, magna cum laude. Brandy Evrain Zizza. Gina Marie Zuccaro. The Bachelor of Science degree. Elizabeth Marie Alley, cum laude. Gabrielle Rose Avani, cum laude. Carol Lloyd Whitaker Bailey, cum laude. Megan Elizabeth Banks. Jessica Nicole Banyan, cum laude. Brianna Caitlin Berge. Amanda Lee Beauclair. Christina Diane Bonfilio. Manuela Isabel Caba, magna cum laude. Lena Joy Caesar. Christina Marie Cassidy. Erin Catherine Cassidy. Daniel Marie Charmut. Caitlin Ann Cheever. Shannon Marie Chevry, magna cum laude. Larissa Lynn Cole, cum laude. Megan Lee DeSante. Mary Lexi Devoy, cum laude. Erin Margaret Dolan. Bridget Rose Donovan, magna cum laude. Catherine Mary Dress, cum laude. Katie Christina Duane, magna cum laude. Ashley Noel Eaton, cum laude. Rachel Marie Fama. Devin Scott Farmer, cum laude. Emily Ann Fenstormaker, cum laude. Allison Marie Finley, cum laude. Martha Grace Frazier, cum laude. Kylie Melina Giroux, cum laude. Kylie Gabrielle Granholm, cum laude. Megan Emily Groom, cum laude. Anna Lee Guancy. Jennifer Lynn Hagman, magna cum laude. Kate Marie Hammett, cum laude. Emily Rose Hayes, cum laude. Erin Ann Hebert, summa cum laude. Mary Murphy Hoffman, summa cum laude. Krista Kathleen Hogan, cum laude. Colleen Elizabeth Hubbard. Lindsay Noel Jones, cum laude. Catherine D. Kane, summa cum laude. Carly Christina Kazanovich. Kayla Mary Cady. Brenda Claire Keys, summa cum laude. Clara Crawford King, cum laude. Sarah Marie Kitchener. Teresa Ann Kowal. Alexis Christina Latzi, magna cum laude. Brittany Woodworth Lefave. Samantha Page Levesque, cum laude. Andrea Mary Luongo. Shannon Elizabeth McGovern, magna cum laude. Alexa Ann Melconian McIver, magna cum laude. Madison Lee Milne. Caitlin Nicole Marone. Anna Marie Moulton. Megan Marie Monahan, summa cum laude. Lisa Marie Murphy, summa cum laude. Jillian Elizabeth Murray. Jacqueline Marie O'Donnell. Danielle Elizabeth O'Neill. Jacqueline Joan Paris. Skylar Pearl Pepin. Sarah Alexandra Pepler. Allison Catherine Pitney. Courtney Lauren Puccio, cum laude. Amanda Catherine Richards, cum laude. Ina Michelle Duhai Small, cum laude. Paige Foyne Stokinger, cum laude. Stephanie Ann Storo. Megan Elizabeth Sullivan, cum laude. Heather Isabel Tagg. Kristen Nicole Tavares, cum laude. Taylor Marie Taylor. Sheila Mary Trifoni, cum laude. Brittany Rose Voto. Nicole Michelle Vada, magna cum laude. Maggie Mae Walker, cum laude. Brianna C. Watson, summa cum laude. Megan Elizabeth Welsh, magna cum laude. Graduates, as a symbol of your transition from student to graduate, you may now move your tassel from the right side to the left side. Congratulations, class of 2017.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as I call upon the Most Reverend Peter Libasci, Bishop of Manchester, to conclude this commencement by invoking God's blessing upon us. Following the benediction, please remain standing for the singing of the Saint Anselm College anthem.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, as we have come to give you thanks through these commencement exercises, and in so doing have recalled many of the important moments of the lives of these graduates and the history and the current present moment of St. Anselm College. We give you thanks for Abbot Mark Cooper and the Benedictine community of St. Anselm's Abbey. We give you thanks for Dr. Stephen DiSalvo and all of the faculty and members and administration of St. Anselm College. We give thanks for their contribution not only to the Diocese of Manchester, but to so many, many, many people who will benefit from the lives of the graduates of this noble college. In remembering and hearing these stories and honoring those who have already shown us the contributions that we can make, it is right that we should give you thanks. And even now, calling upon you, O Lord, and remembering what you entrusted to Aaron, that he should give as a blessing, I ask you now, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord look upon you all kindly and give you peace. And may the mile marker that brought you here demonstrate that it is not far, as you will return many times to a home, a family, a community. St. A's. God bless you in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
All hail to thee, our praise receive. Saint Anselm, hail to thee.